So to answer our question today about superpowers, I have Nick here, one of my oldest friends. He's also just a professional person who thinks often about superpowers. So Nick, today is a would you rather question. You ready for this?
Ready.
Would you rather be able to fly, but only when you're singing a suspended C sharp, specifically C sharp, you go off that, you plummet to the ground. You have to maintain the C sharp. Or you can run super speed, like super fast, but you lose control of your arms and hands for 2 hours every time you do it.
Wow. Okay, so if I understand you correctly, singing like a sustained C sharp. So if this was
Yes.
if this was a
Pitch
C sharp,
perfect C sharp.
if I go,
You're
then
down. You're
I plummet.
plummeting to the ground. Yeah.
Oh, geez. So it's
But
got to
you can
be.
fly. But you can fly.
And if you start to plummet, you could always realize that maybe you're flat or sharp and kind of try to
If you have
pitch
good
correct
pitch,
yourself.
yes. If you have
and then
good
get
pitch.
back there. If you can't find the correct pitch, though,
You're done. Also, if people don't have perfect pitch at all, that one's just the easiest question in the world. They're going with the other one. But losing control of your hands and arms for 2 hours every time you use super speed is pretty crazy.
super speed,
Yeah.
lose hands and arms.
Which essentially kind of just means like, okay, I'm going to use as much super speed as I can. I can't use my arms. And then for 2 hours after I stop, I'm not going to be able to use them.
Yeah. I think first initial impressions is I would go with the flight, just
Yes.
because
It's flight.
How cool would
It's
that
flight.
be?
You have to choose flight at
Right.
the end of the day. Yeah, yeah.
And maybe you could, test it out to where maybe you're in a trampoline park and you're kind of just like singing that C sharp. But if you fall,
That's a
at
good
least
point.
there's a soft,
Over water.
over water. Yeah, over water.
And then you just do higher and higher stuff.
Because I feel like practice is a muscle.
Yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah,
more
yeah,
you practice something, even when it comes to music,
Even if you
I'd
don't have
say-
perfect pitch.
I would say that the professional musicians have trained that muscle in their minds, that pitch over and over and over again, to where I would almost dare to say that perfect pitch could be learned.
Yes.
And
I think you're right.
And
I
so
think you're
I
right.
think that if you practice it
I think
enough,
I think anybody
you
could. I
get
think
to that
anybody
C
could.
sharp. And with enough practice, you could kind of know if you're starting to go flat or starting to go sharp. You could even implement some kind of like hearing,
yeah.
some kind of like hearing device system where you maybe have like a mic attached to your face that's connected to your
could
ears.
hear
to where
it, yeah.
You can hear yourself so well that even if the wind is rushing in your ears, you still have that note to where you can tell if you're slightly flat
yeah.
or
I think that's a
slightly
good
sharp.
idea.
So I would say first impressions is I would go with that. I think that you can train yourself to get to the point where you can stay with the sustained C sharp. But thinking about the other one, super speed.
How long could you keep a note? Because that's also something. We could come back to that.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like how long could you hold your breath?
Yes.
Maybe a little bit
like,
shorter than that.
And it just has to be audible, so it can be really low,
yeah.
right? But the super speed, here's something that people don't think about super speed.
Hold
is
on,
that-
pause. Before you get into that, another thing just crossed my mind. You're probably, if you're doing the C sharp one,
Yeah.
I think of that very quickly you'll start to get dizzy. Because if you're and then
Oh, yeah.
like
You're not
eventually,
breathing. You're not breathing.
yeah, the
You're not
air is
breathing
coming
while you
very,
fly.
yeah,
That is a good point.
And
You
so I
can't
think
breathe.
that eventually, I don't know if you could, like, you couldn't do that for more
Couldn't
than
fight somebody up
5
there.
minutes.
If there was a bad guy that could
Yeah,
fly, he beats
yeah.
you every single time.
So, like, if you're thinking, I'm going to fly to London with this,
Yeah,
not
no,
going to
no, no,
happen.
no,
Not going to
no.
happen. You could
You're not making it over the
maybe-
ocean on one
you
breath.
could maybe have a 10, 20-mile radius from where you're at right now.
But you could run across the ocean to London with super speed. It would take a long time, but maybe even not that long. So you could actually travel the world more with the super speed one versus the flying one, which makes me kind of tempted. And the arm thing sucks because it's like, well, if I'm using super speed, it's probably also like, I would want to use super speed to just get more work done.
Yeah.
But I don't have the use of my hands.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard.
You've probably seen those people who don't have arms. But I'm just saying, like, people who only have their legs and they've trained their feet
Also
to,
a
like,
good point.
grasp a toothbrush.
Also a good
and
point.
they do everything with their feet. They dress themselves with
Yeah.
their feet. So talking about learned skills, you could also train yourself to
True.
have the skill to do things with your feet for the span of the 2 hours if you need to. Then again,
Yes.
after you're running somewhere, I mean, if you have that super speed, like, what dire necessity do you have to use your hands?
At the end of the day, you could always slap somebody with them. They're still going to be connected to you. You know what I mean? And maybe you just take Taekwondo classes, which are mostly kicks anyway, and you just become so good at kicking and deflecting with kicks and like arm barring people with kicks and choking them out with kicks and here's the other thing. Nobody has any defenses against you because you have super speed. You can beat somebody you could kill somebody in a second with a kick because you're moving it 80 miles an hour if you want. So I must say it's a difficult decision for me because the super speed ones just outright in every single way more useful, but the flying one's flight. How do I not choose flight?
Yeah. Well,
How do I not choose flight?
let me ask you this. Would you ever feel like you would have any moments of necessity to use super speed, or would it be purely for recreational purposes?
I think it would save my life. I think it could save my life or save the life of somebody else, especially if like in those moments you just have to be somewhere fast or you can make a difference or something. But flight definitely could save people's lives.
True.
Flight could definitely get people out of burning buildings and like help in situations like that. I think super speed would just allow you to save more people overall because of the limitations of the flight. So it's kind of like, for me, I would choose the flight one, but if I really want to be the best person I can and have the superpower that's going to benefit the most people, probably the super speed one.
I think another question that we have to ask is what is included in the flight? How fast can you fly?
Right. And how fast can you run?
Because I'm kind of imagining that if you have the ability of flight, I would just assume that you wouldn't be able to fly faster than you could run.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Well,
Unless
I mean,
you're kind of thinking of Superman flights,
usually
in which
flight,
case,
usually flight is like a Superman type speed of flight,
in which
does
case,
change it. Yeah.
In which case, like if you've got flight that is the same equivalent of speed of super speed,
yeah.
why not just go with that?
Right, because you could sing if you could fly around the Earth in a minute, then you can sing for a minute long.
Yeah, then you could get to London.
I think I'm choosing flight,
could get to
dude. That's a
London.
good point. I think I'm choosing flight. What
okay.
about you?
You know, I just don't think there's anything that could compete with flight.
I agree.
I think that the moment that we reach that moment of technological advancement to where we're able to
Or psychic
to fly
advancement.
yeah, to where we're able to fly with just our bodies, maybe like a jetpack or booster shoes or something like that, where we're not like in a machine or like a with a windshield that can fly us anywhere. I think that moment will be the moment of peak civilization. I don't think that we'll be able to get any happier than that moment.
The jetpack era, dude.
And
It's coming. The jetpack era is coming.
I'm sure you have the dreams all the time, like I do, where you can fly.
Yeah.
And those dreams, I don't know of any other dream where you wake up and you're just like, dang.
Specifically, I only have dreams when I can fly, when I like am in a time of life where I believe in myself. It's like a specific look into my inner psyche that I can do. So yeah, I'm choosing flight.
As much as I want to play devil's advocate, there's not an argument that I could make for super speed that would trump flight.
I think you're right.
If there's anyone in the comments though that has
please.
like ideas or suggestions or arguments
us
that
why
would
we're
go
wrong.
for super speed, let us know. Because like I'm racking my brain and I just can't think of anything that would be better than the flight.
Yeah, that's a good point, dude. I think I must agree with that. I think the super speed one is tough, man. It would be so useful.
I just thought of something.
What?
What if there was a sound so loud that it like ruptured your eardrums, made it so that you couldn't hear yourself? Or what if you
you lose your ability to hear?
What if you're screaming to the point where you lose your voice?
Well, this is what I have to say. If you get good enough, you'll still know the frequency coming out of your mouth, how it feels, because Beethoven could learn the frequencies of the things. So
that's true.
I think you're safe for that one.
If you are good enough, you would have to have so much trust in yourself, though.
You would have to get really good at knowing exactly where that frequency is of voice.
But what about losing your? I mean, if you lose your voice, you're cooked.
True. You have to sing. It has to.
I guess how often does that happen? I'd say we lose our
yeah.
voice. I don't know, maybe once a year.
Really, it's just how, like, if it gets to this, what happens to you that makes it so you can't make a C sharp? Right. Yeah. And there are things that can happen. You can have certain diseases which take away that ability and stuff, but it's still worth it. Still choosing flight.
Totally worth it.
Still choosing flight.
I don't know of any argument out there.
Yeah.
If you guys know of one in the comments, let us know, because there's nothing that trumps flight.
Yeah, please tell us. That's what we have come down to today. I think that wraps up our discussion. Thanks, Nick, for giving your thoughts. And please join us tomorrow on March 10th, which will be National Mario Day. And we have a fun one for you guys next time. Thanks.